Three, two, one, action. Welcome back to episode 46 of As Seen on Screen. I'm Gracie.
And I'm Nicole, and we're your source for entertainment news, reviews, conversations, and more.
You can find us wherever you watch or listen to your podcasts on Spotify and YouTube.
Well, welcome back to another week on the show. We are so happy you're here. Thank you for joining us. There is a ton of news to go over this week coming out of CinemaCon in Las Vegas last week, and we also have a few renewals and upcoming releases to talk about. So let's jump right into it because I know there's going to be many franchise fans that are happy coming out of last week. Starting off with Spider-Man. Spider-Man fans, you have gotten your fill over the next few years. First off, with the release date and name announcement of Tom Holland's Spider-Man next upcoming Spider-Man film. We have Spider-Man Brand New Day will be theatrically released on July 31st, 2026. So you have just over a year to wait for Mr. Tom Holland to be back in the suit. But Gracie, what other Spider-Man news do we get?
I feel like this one was even more anticipated than Tom Holland's, which is crazy to say. But Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will be theatrically released officially on June 4th, 2027. So you do have to wait a little bit longer for that one, but I feel like we all knew that was coming with the amount of design and drawing and artwork that goes into the Spider-Verse. So it's not too far, but it's far.
Very exciting for Spider-Man fans. Switching gears a bit over to music. Anyone a fan of the Beatles? The announcement was made that the Beatles, a four-part cinematic event, will be theatrically released on April 2028 by Sony Pictures, directed by Sam Mendes. They also announced the cast, so Harris Dickinson will be playing John Lennon, Paul Mescal will be playing Paul McCartney, Barry Keoghan will be playing Ringo Starr, and Joseph Quinn will be playing George Harrison. So I think this is very interesting. A four-film cinematic event. What, are you going to go to the theater and watch all four back to back like a little marathon?
I don't think this has ever been done before,
No.
and I'm quite interested to see what it means.
Yes.
But on top of that, I like how we're getting all different age ranges for this movie because obviously you have the Beatles fans who are like the OGs, um, probably a bit older. And then you have the middle group whose like parents made them listen to the Beatles growing up. And then you have the very young like TikTok group because these are like the four it boys right now. If you're not seeing it for the Beatles, you're seeing it for the boys. Let's be real. So I'm excited to see what they do. I will say, despite these four being like the it boys right now, I do see the resemblance for all four.
I do too, and I think it's crazy that there's already news reports coming out being like the casting is wrong. Guys, we haven't even seen anything for this. Like you have no idea what direction they're taking this in, what it's gonna look like. And it's
Yeah,
far too early to be giving that kind of like criticism or opinions because there's like nothing to base it off of right now.
exactly. Give the boys a chance. And
No,
if all else fails, maybe we can hold on to hope that they'll make their own band.
Gracie's gonna bring us into August Moon in 2 seconds,
I
but
was
before
just thinking August Moon.
but before she does,
I
just
was like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, but you said it. So August Moon petition. We need you on tour, please.
anyhow, I think this is very interesting. I'm so intrigued. I feel like I'm thinking of it of like a press and marketing standpoint. Like, so four films, when you think about the premieres and stuff, are they gonna have separate premieres for every film? I doubt it. So if they have it together, will they just show snippets from each one? Because you can't show four films back to back at a premiere. You're gonna be there all night. I'm so
I
intrigued.
don't know.
I was
I'm
talking
confused, but I'm intrigued.
I was talking to Isabella, our friend. She works for Collider. She's an entertainment writer for Collider as well. We were talking about it. She's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to the movies and watch them all like back to back. And I was thinking, we were talking, we were like, yeah, it's just kind of like at TIFF. Like if we were to watch four movies in a day at TIFF or a film festival, anyone who goes to film festivals, it's very similar if you do happen to watch like that many films a day, which we've both done. So it's definitely doable for sure. That would be a long day. But
Hmm.
With something like this that's so different, and I don't think we've seen anything like it before, I feel it's called for.
I'm interested to see like how they split it up. Like, is it gonna be one beetle for each, or is it gonna be like, I don't know if it's gonna be POV type thing.
Moving into a different side of magic movies, Gracie, I know you're excited.
I love this series, this franchise. Now You See Me. Obviously, we all knew the third one was coming. We've talked about it on this podcast before, but we now have an official title, and I love this title. I can't stress how much I love this
I do
title.
too. It's genius.
I'm obsessed with this title. So the title is Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and it will be theatrically released on November 14th, 2025. So I just by like, and the fact that they listen to the fans, because the fans technically made this title in the comments, they were like, it has to be Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And they posted a video where they like clipped all the comments together and they said, we listened, here's the title. So I like that in itself, but I also think it's just super smart for like a magician movie.
Yeah.
That being said, obviously the film stars Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, Isla Fisher, and Morgan Freeman. And it will be directed by Ruben Flesher. They've also, big news, confirmed a fourth film is already in development. So we are getting well fed as the Now You See Me fan community. I just think these films are so original and they're so like gripping that I'm obsessed. And I'm so glad we're getting a fourth one because it's so good.
So what I'm hearing is the fans now have to band together to create a fourth name.
Like,
Because,
how are we gonna top this one? Because, like, obviously, you have Now You See Me as the first one.
yeah,
Then you have Now You See Me 2, which is like, okay, we tried. Then we have, I was fully convinced this was gonna be Now You See Me 3, if I'm being honest. But we have Now You See Me, Now You Don't. How are we gonna one up this? Like, I don't even know what it could be.
I'm very intrigued. We also, carrying on the franchise announcement, CinemaCon just was delivering this year. Lionsgate announced that John Wick 5 has been confirmed with Keanu Reeves in the title role. It has also been confirmed that an animated prequel film is coming. Now, this all comes amidst the news that we, of course, have Ballerina, the John Wick film coming out this year. It is releasing on June 6th of this year, starring Ana de Armas, and that is all part of the John Wick universe. They have already said at CinemaCon that these next two films are coming in lines with Ballerina, so it'll be interesting to see once Ballerina comes out where this could possibly take it, where it could go. I believe the last John Wick film, John Wick Chapter 4, the last one we had was 2023. Lots of John Wick news. If you're a John Wick fan, you have a few great and titles looking forward to over the next few years.
Listen, I love Keanu Reeves. We love our Canadian icon. But at what point do we just let him live his life? Because it's kind of giving like I've seen the comparison of like he's gonna be stuck doing this for so many years, kind of like how Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man for so long and now he's coming back as Doom. Like, at what point do we not only give new actors a chance, but also move away from a franchise? Like, what's a good point to
True.
end it and kind of like move on?
Very true.
So we'll see if John Wick 6 happens. You never know at this point. But
That'll be
um,
next year's announcement.
literally, we will be back next year to say I told you so. Uh, all of this because someone killed his dog. Like,
You know what? I can hold a grudge too. I
you
respect
do
it.
too. Moving away from John Wick, we are still on franchises from CinemaCon. How to Train Your Dragon 2, the live action film, is set to have a theatrical release for 2027. This is obviously ahead of the release that How to Train Your Dragon, the first live action film, is releasing in theaters June 13th, 2025. So I don't know about you, but I'm super excited for this because I love How to Train Your Dragon. Once again, we love Canadian King Hiccup, but I like I just love this franchise and I'm so excited to see the live action because from what I've heard, it's actually very well done. So I'm kind of obsessed that they're already making a second one.
Visually, it looks amazing. We've been saying this since we started talking about it on the podcast here when the first trailer came out, or the first posters, the first looks. I'm very excited to see this live action because the live action looks very well done. So, oh, you can wait like a week and I could go see it with you because I'll be home.
You know what? Maybe I will. But I was just
Yeah.
saying to Nicole that we need to now have like a summer trip to Universal Orlando because they just opened, obviously, their Epic Universe resort part, and it has the How to Train Your Dragon like aisle. So I want to go meet Toothless and all of his little babies. So
They should have had it in LA. I'm going to Universal LA in June. Damn.
it's okay. We'll just make a trip out to go see little dragons.
Perfect. Who wants to go to Universal Orlando
Who
Resort?
wants to? It took me a minute to realize what you're doing, but I love that.
There's a meme to go with that, everyone. There's a reason on TikTok. I promise I didn't just make that up. Moving away from the CinemaCon into more of our news, anyone fan of Dexter Original Sin should be happy it has been renewed for a second season.
I have not yet watched Dexter Original Sin, but I do love the actor that plays young Dexter
Mm.
because he was also in the OA, which is a Netflix show, and I think he is so talented. So I'm so happy he's finally getting his flowers and killing it in this role, no pun intended. Um, yeah, I'm just excited to see what the future holds for these people in this show.
Absolutely. Well, we got another sequel series going on here. What other news do we have?
Yeah, so upon the upcoming release of The Handmaid's Tale final season, it was revealed that a sequel series called The Testaments has officially been greenlit at Hulu, and production began on April 7th. So we will be getting more of the Handmaid's Tale universe coming to our screens, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Phineas and Ferb. We got the first official trailer for the new season, and the release date it is coming to Disney Channel on June 5th, and then it will be on Disney Plus the next day on June 6th. And you know what? I could not be more excited. I remember when I went to Disney World, I was 10, 9 or 10 when my family and I went to Disney World, and I brought all of my Phineas and Ferb plushies that I had from the Disney store in Canada. So I had Phineas, I had Ferb, I have Dr. Doofenshmirtz, I had multiple Perry the Platypuses. I still have multiple
As
Perry
you
the
should.
Platypuses. I have I have Isabella. Candace was the one doll I never got because they never had it at our Disney store. And then when we went to Disney World, I couldn't find any Candace ones either. So to this day, I still have all of them. They're in my room, in my closet, in the bin at the top of my closet. And Candace is missing.
I'm not gonna lie, I also have the Phineas and Ferb plushies, but I also have like a Christmas tree ornament of them with Perry.
Stop
Um,
it.
Obsessed. My whole family like loved watching that show together, and I'm so excited this is coming back, but I'm also so grateful that it's the original creator
Yeah.
that is bringing it back, and he decided to stick with the original animation. Honestly, I think that Shrek should take some notes because the people were happy. This looks like the show that we grew up watching. It doesn't look like it's a remake or an addition. It just looks like it never stopped. So I am so excited. But also, how many summers has it been for these kids at this point?
Listen, they're booked and busy. They are busy
They
every
don't age.
day. You know why they don't age? Because they are constantly working.
Real,
They are
booked
keeping
and
themselves
busy.
youthful.
Real, you know what? They probably created something that like makes them stay
Real.
young at this point.
Yeah. I feel like the theme song is one of those songs I'm never gonna forget. Like there's no
There's 104 days of
4 days of
summer
vacation.
vacation.
School comes along just to end it. At the
But the
end,
annual problem of our
generation
generation is
is finding
finding a good
a good way
way
to
to
spend
spend.
it. Like
Like
maybe.
maybe. Honestly,
And everyone's
I'm
gonna be begging
also
us to stop, so we're done. Don't worry.
no, the whole thing. Let's go. Um, that's one of the things I'm also like most excited for this new season is the absolute bangers we get from this show.
The squirrel song, Squirrels in My Pants song. There's
Bow Chicka Wow Wow. Oh my God, the Aglet song
yes. The egg.
taught me what an aglet was. You know what? If someone tells you what an aglet is, they definitely watched Phineas and Ferb. But
100%.
also like, what's the one where they're like, we're getting the band back together? Banger. I don't think they have one bad song. Oh my God, Backyard Beach.
Busted
Oh my God, what was the one about her brothers?
Little Brothers.
Little brothers. Because you're younger, we're related, and you're boys. Peak lyricism. Speaking of lyricism, do you remember when they had Taylor Swift on the show?
Yes.
Like, what an iconic moment in history.
Herb is a cultural phenomenon.
Real. We could go on and on about this.
I also remember doing, they used to have, they need to, this is my petition for them to bring this back now that the show's coming back, because I don't think they do it anymore. But they had a Perry the Platypus like adventure thing through Epcot a long time ago at Disney World in Florida. So I remember doing it, and we had to get like, it was all through different stores in Epcot, and I think I had like a little tracking thing or some sort of like device that I got from wherever the starting point of it is, and you have to find these different points. So at one point we went to a store and there was a globe and I had to point the transmitter thing at the globe and it spun it around and then it stopped and Perry's face or one of the characters' face was like in the globe, so it was like sticking out of the globe. And I just remember my dad and I being like, "This is so cool."
While you were doing that, I was playing the Phineas and Ferb version of Where's My Water? Do you remember that app?
Yes.
And it was the Perry one.
But
What an iconic time to be alive.
I think it's safe. We should try and get Dan on the show. That should be our mission now over the next few months. We would
I
die.
think I might actually cry if we get Dan on the show. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's all the news we have for this week. I say that was a pretty big week, thanks to CinemaCon. CinemaCon's keeping us well fed, as they do every year. I personally just have to say I cannot wait for Mission Impossible, which I need to get Gracie to watch all the movies over the next less than 2 months, and then we can be on the same level of excitement. Well, moving in into our weekly watches. Miss Gracie, what did you watch this week?
I started Adolescence this week.
What do you think? What do you think?
This is the problem with being so into like film and TV. The acting is fantastic. Totally stellar cast. Love it. The script is great. I cannot get over the one shot though. Like I literally was watching it with my friend Alana and we sat there for like 20 minutes after the first episode and we're just thinking of like statistically or like how they did it
Yeah,
because that's a 41-minute one shot basically. And we Googled it and there was no secret editing. The guy was like, if we're gonna do a one shot, we're going to do a one shot. We're not gonna pretend that it's a one shot. So I'm just sitting there the entire time trying to think about like how they did this or like how many takes it took for this. And it kind of sucks because I want to just enjoy the show, but it's just so intriguing that I'm like, this has never been done before.
like there's just so many props to give to everyone
Yeah,
involved because even like you said, the cast is incredible. The young boy in the show,
killed it.
can't imagine being that young as he is and like trying like the one shot, like I can't get over it. Getting
And
all
this is his first role ever.
yeah, that's the thing. Like he did such an incredible job and his acting is stellar. Like at no point are you questioning the very like realness that this show provides you, like this scary outlook into what this process might be like for this whole family, everyone going through it. And not even just that, but they focus on so many characters, even just within the first
Mm.
episode. You see the detectives and you go into their office, you see the family, you see their house, you see them in the waiting room, you see the young boy in the car, you see him go through the whole process of getting booked in, getting to his cell, you see them in the questioning room with his like representation, you see them go and take like blood and all that stuff, you see the nurse. Like, crazy amounts of people and places to take
The
in one.
training and the timing and just the preparation that probably went into this is insane to think about.
Oh yeah.
So I have the utmost respect for this entire team, and I said it as soon as I finished the first episode. if this is not nominated for any awards
Mm,
this season,
hmm.
I'm gonna lose it because you cannot tell me it does not deserve at least one nomination.
Oh yeah.
Aside from acting, it's just so cinematically beautiful, and you can tell how much effort and passion went into it. So if you haven't watched Adolescence, go watch it. It's on Netflix. But my second watch of the week, I finally finished Paradise, and I'm so happy that it's done. Like, I know, obviously, I'm excited for the second season, but I'm happy to be done it because I was sitting on like the last episode on a cliffhanger and
Mm,
I finished the season. So I'm happy. Obviously, it was a cliffhanger, but I know a second season's coming. Once again, the acting in that, phenomenal. Storyline, crazy. Literally had me second guessing all of my decisions or like guesses.
yeah.
Um, and James Marsden, like, come on. I want him to be my president. But yeah, if you haven't watched that one, Paradise is another great show to watch. But Nicole, what was on your watch list?
I feel so proud of us because the last few weeks we've had so many TV shows, and if you've been listening since the beginning, we are bad at watching our TV shows, as we've said
Same.
multiple times. I think I said this last, I can't remember if I said I started it last
You
week.
said like five things last week, so I guarantee you probably said it.
The Residence on
Yes,
Netflix.
you did.
Or Shondaland. I'm further into it now, and I can also continue to confirm that it is a hilarious show. It is so smart, it is so witty, it's so interesting to follow. I think it's funny because I kind of went from watching Severance to The Residence, and it was just funny because they're both such like thinking shows. Residence not nearly the same level as Severance, but I was still following it, being like, I wonder who did it. Wait, now they're presenting this story and this person, and I just love a good thinking show. I'm not making a comparison to say Severance and The Residents are the same, but it's just funny to watch all these shows that are such like put your thinking cap on and try to figure out what is happening or what the mystery is, what is the secret, what am I missing as a viewer. So very interesting stuff. You should definitely watch it on Netflix if you haven't started already. But my film watch of the week, here in Australia, there's a movie coming out called The Correspondent. I'm unsure of the Canadian release and the North American release, so I should check that. But in Australia, it's coming out in a few weeks. Correspondent stars Richard Roxburgh. He portrays Peter Grest, who is a real Australian journalist. In 2013, he went to Egypt to cover his coworker's shift through Christmas, December 2013. He was in Egypt when one day he was arrested on charges of terrorism. And basically, Peter became this kind of pawn in the middle of this whole game with the government, the Brotherhood, all these types of individuals. He was kind of stuck in the middle, and so he started releasing statements from prison saying that he was not guilty of these charges, he was being unfairly held, all these kind of things. He was also in there with two of his coworkers, so they were kind of working together. We see them go through the process of the judicial system in Egypt. It is such an interesting watch, but at the same time, it is so devastating and gripping. I also think it's very timely. We saw a Q&A. I was there with the director, Peter and Richard, and they were talking about how timely this is and the state of journalism throughout the world. Different, not laws, but different just sanctions that are putting against freedom of the press and inabilities the press is having to report on political issues. And so it's very timely to see what kind of roadblocks can be put ahead of journalists. And what's even scarier is that at the end of the film, and Peter was talking about how when they first started making the film, and even in 2013, when this actually did all happen to him, the state of journalism is now just worse. More journalists are getting killed every year, more are being held in prison each year across the world, reporting in different war zones. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for war correspondents and the work that they do, and just the bravery that they have to bring all this news across the world and to be reporting from these locations. It's devastating and it's horrible, and it is something that, as consumers of the media, we have to be very aware of and see what is happening. But yeah, The Correspondent, it was an incredibly well-made film. It is all in first person, so the film just follows Peter. He is in every single scene. It is from when we see him in the hotel at the beginning to the ending of the film. Obviously, I'm telling you, Peter was there at the Q&A, so obviously Peter did get out. But his story, he has a novel that he wrote, just devastating, very gripping. So I suggest even just learning about a story if you can't see the movie, can't read the book, but it was definitely a very interesting film to watch, and I'm very glad I had the opportunity to watch it here. What's your song of the week, Miss Gracie?
So glad you asked. You know when you like I feel like I'm Taylor Swifting right now where I explain what I'm about to say.
Taylor Swifting a verb now? I like it.
You know what? Maybe. But like you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So, you know when you're just listening to music and all of a sudden you have like a memory that an album exists. So I had that this week. I gotta shout out two albums because I love them both. But Voice Notes and Charlie by both by Charlie Puth are fantastic albums. Like he's just so talented and I've always had the utmost respect for him as an artist and as a person. I don't know what my exact song is though because I've literally been listening to those two albums on repeat.
That's fair.
I'd
Album.
probably say LA Girls though because I giggled when I was listening to it because it says Nicole in it. And when I was listening to it, I was like, "Oh my God, I need to get Nicole to listen to this."
I
So that's mine. But I also like Charlie Be Quiet because it just gets it uses volume so different and so effectively. And I think that's something that he's really good with is using things that other artists or other people wouldn't really consider using. So I love Charlie Puth. Shout out Charlie Puth. But what was your song of the week, Nicole?
I feel like I don't have one song of the week. I've been listening to my playlist just fully on repeat. My song of the week honestly probably still stands from last week when I said Ty Myers, Thought It Was Love. That's been coming on a lot. But I put it on like you know how you can do the Spotify suggested shuffle, so it like adds songs into your playlist that aren't there. It's been reminding me of all these songs, which I'm not sure why they aren't already in my playlist, but all these like older country songs, not really older, but like older for me, older country songs, like Make Me Wanna, Thomas Rhett, It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, Alan Jackson, Jimmy Buffett, Red Solo Cup, Toby Keith, Let Me See a Girl, Cole Swindell. Oh my gosh. So many
These
great.
are bangers,
I
man.
know Spotify has been killing it this week.
Ugh,
So I've
I
just been
love when
hoping.
Spotify pops off on recommendations because sometimes they give you stuff and you're like, what
Do
are
you
you
know
talking
me at
about?
all?
But sometimes they give you stuff and you're like, perfect, exactly what I needed.
Exactly. So that has been my list of songs for the week. So many different ones, but it's been popping off for sure. So moving in to our last segment of the show, upcoming releases. Starting off today, April 10th, which actually I'd love to hear Gracie's opinion on this a bit more because she talked about this briefly last week, but she wasn't really able to. So I'm gonna give her the floor on this one. But G20, starring Viola Davis, releases on Prime Video today, and Gracie had the chance to watch it thanks to the Tarot group. I still haven't had the chance to watch it. I have the screener, so thank you to the Tarot group, but we are recording this early this week, so I will be watching it this week before it comes out, but just not yet. So, Gracie, what is your thoughts?
Well, thanks for reminding me that I meant to put this as my watch of the week as well.
Anytime.
But yeah, G20, I had the chance to go to an advanced screening in Toronto, and it was such a good time to like see a bunch of content creators and film nerds there. So that was great. So thank you to the Tarot Group for the invite to that. I will say this film, I went into it with mixed expectations because on one hand, it's a Prime Video movie and those can be hit or miss. I do love Prime Video though. Obviously, they gave me the idea of you, so shout out to them. But the fact that this was a Viola Davis movie and it didn't have a theatrical release kind of made me iffy because what do you mean this absolute icon, an EGOT winner, is not on a theatrical screen? So I didn't love the film as much as I wanted to. I Don't get me wrong. The action was great. It was fantastic. The stunt coordinators obviously were killing their job. Um, Ever since we've seen The Fall Guy, I obviously think very highly of stunt people. So the amount of work and training that went into this was probably insane. So congratulations to that team on killing it. As I said before, Viola Davis, what an icon. Anthony Starr. I love this man, and I find it so funny that he always plays villains. But that being said, he's so good at what he does. Like, he is probably one of the scariest people to be a villain, but he's the sweetest person in real life. Because obviously, after the film, we had a Q&A and the whole cast was talking, and it just seemed like such a great time. All the positives aside from this movie, I did not love the script. I'm gonna be so honest. It felt like a joke to me in a way because it was supposed to be this action like thriller with a little bit of comedy, but some of the stuff they were saying, I was like, I can't take this seriously, knowing that the entirety of this movie is basically based about crypto. Like, I it just threw me off that I'm like, we're really having a full movie about people getting mad about crypto. This is crazy. And just some of the comments they were saying in the film didn't sit right with me, but also just didn't fit the aesthetic of the film. So I think that took away from me thoroughly enjoying it because I was more so just thrown off by the writing and some of the direction it took. But the performances were great for what they were given. So I will say that.
Well, as we said, G20 is out today on Prime Video, so you can watch it for yourself now, and we're excited to hear what you think of it. What else is coming out today, Gracie?
Moving over to Netflix, we have Black Mirror Season 7.
Over on Netflix as well, we have Moonrise,
Also on Netflix, and we are going to take a moment for this one. We have North of North finally coming to Netflix. For those of you who don't know, this is a Canadian show. Okay, this has already fully premiered on CBC, the entire season. So now the US is getting it. If you're listening and you're from the US, I need you to watch North of North because this is such a good show. And I'm not just saying that because it's Canadian. I'm saying it because this is literally the funniest thing I have watched in so long. And the acting, with it being mostly new actors and being filmed where it's actually located, is incredible. So if you're looking for a new comedy to watch, but also like something very heartfelt and heartwarming, check out North and North on Netflix.
love it. I remember when Gracie went to the premiere of this and she was telling me about the first episode. I am so excited to watch this. It just
I was
sounds
gagged, man.
fantastic. Well, closing out today's releases, Hacks Season 4 is also now on Max.
On April 11th, we have The Amateur, which is in theaters.
Which can I say? I cannot wait to go see this. I
Rami Malek.
am thrilled. I have been since I think I said this to you when I saw the first trailer for it months back now in the theaters. I immediately was like, I need to see this movie. I am so excited. I love Rami Malek. I love a good like spy thriller, mystery crime thriller, those types of movies. I am just ecstatic. I'm so excited. But another film, honestly, I am equally as excited for, which maybe I'll pop in here and add a little review Wednesday night because I am seeing Drop in theaters, which is coming out April 11th for you guys. I'm having a chance to see it Wednesday this week, which of course will have already happened once you're seeing this episode, but maybe I'll pop back in here and leave a little review of it. Well, as promised, I am here post-drop screening to give you my quick thoughts here, and safe to say, I loved it. I gave it 4 to 5 stars on Letterboxd. I thought this film is exactly what I was expecting it to be, an entertaining, tight thriller, whodunit mystery. So I really love that aspect because if you know me, you know those are some of my favorite types of films. If you haven't heard what this film is about at all, basically this woman Violet is on her first date in a very long time. She's a single mother and she starts receiving basically airdrops to her phone from someone in the restaurant giving passing on threats to her basically. And as the film continues, the threats start to get worse and worse and worse, and she finds out someone is actually in her home where her sister is taking care of her son. So then she has to figure out what is happening, what these people want from her, what she has to do, all while remaining on this date with Henry. And so That's what the film is. It's, again, a very great whodunit. Megan is amazing in this film. She portrays this single mother on her first date in a very long time. She has a past that you kind of figure out as the film evolves, and she's just so pure in her role as this. She just sincerely plays Violet's character so, so well. She's very convincing in the role, and Brandon is just as amazing. He's very charismatic, very charming in the film. His character adds some great balance because Megan's character, Violet, is obviously very frazzled throughout this film. She's very panicked, she's anxious, she is dealing basically with this big life, potentially life-altering emergency all by herself, while also trying to navigate this first date and making sure Brandon's character, Henry, does not leave. So they balance each other out well, which I really liked. Both those characters kind of bring like the calm and the storm to the film. So I thought they worked very well together. I loved their roles. I overall thought this was very well paced. It was very true to like a whodunit thriller. They don't use, I mean, often in thrillers like this nowadays, or like modern day horror thriller, that kind of stuff, they use a lot of comedy in it. And sometimes the comedy is used to offset the thrill of the movie, and it's kind of used to help balance it out, to not let it take itself too seriously, basically. But this film is so effective in not overusing comedy to do any of that. And it just lets the film be the essence of what it is. It is just this thriller that you're not supposed to take, too seriously. I love the slogan on the poster that basically says everyone's a suspect. So it's very interesting to see her kind of try and go through the chopping board of who in this restaurant has she interacted with, who's around her, who might be sending these to her, what is she gonna do? And I just really enjoyed it. It was very entertaining, very thrilling. I was anxious for Violet the entire ride through this film. I thought they concluded the third act very well. It has a very like uphill battle throughout this film, and the third act does not let go. So I was very happy that I was very pleased up until the very end. So I highly, highly suggest seeing Drop in theaters this Friday. You won't regret it. It is a ton of fun.
Also on April 11th, we have Warfare, which is in theaters, and this one, it looks so good. The cast is stacked, obviously, but it looks so good.
What a good week for movies.
Real.
Through Drop and Warfare, I wish not all these movies come out the same dates in Australia, so I can't, but if I was home, I would so do a triple feature. Although I feel, you know what? I've been thinking about this for weeks, and now finally we can talk about it because it's coming out this week. Every time I see Warfare, I think about our interaction with Alex Garland at South by Southwest last year. So, taking you back to March 2024, Gracie and I are at the world premiere of Civil War, a fantastic film.
I didn't know what you were gonna say, but now I know exactly what you're gonna say. I totally forgot about this interaction, but go ahead.
So, when Gracie and I were at the world premiere of Civil War, it was taking place at the Paramount Theater. However, Cuckoo with Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens was happening afterwards, and Gracie and I knew we were on the red carpet for this. So this meant that we had to leave Civil War about 20 minutes early because with red carpets, anyone who doesn't work press, anything like that, there's only a certain window that you can check in for red carpets. So if you don't check in by a certain time, usually honestly about like 40 minutes, could be even late, like earlier to when talent is supposed to start arriving. So you have to get there early or else they'll probably give your spot away, especially at film festivals. So Gracie and I knew what time we had to leave. We're checking our phones, whatever. Civil War was so good, and we just wanted to see the ending, so we kind of stayed a few extra minutes than we should. Finally, we leave. We're now kind of like rushing out of the theater, and we were on the second floor, so we had to rush down the staircase into the main lobby outside. So we're going outside. As we're going down the staircase, who's standing at the bottom of the stairs? But Alex Garland, the writer and director of the film, we are now rushing out of before it has even ended. So now I'm like, oh my God, we have to say hi. Like I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, this is great. If you don't know Alex Garland's filmography, this man is responsible for writing, directing the roles like that, as in 28 Days Later, Annihilation, Ex Machina, 28 Years Later, coming out this year, and he is the writer and director of Warfare. So I'm like, oh, he's a filmmaking legend. I let's say hi. But then I'm halfway down the stairs. I'm now like the only perception this man has of us is that we are running out of his movie before it is even over. So now we just look horrible. And I will preface this by saying I'm sure Alex Garland never thought of this interaction 1 second after it happened again.
I'm sure he could not care less.
Never cared less, but it's one of those stories that I know he will never care about, but it haunts me. It haunts me. So now, as we're skirting past him, basically, as we get to the bottom, I said something along the lines of like, "Congratulations on the film. It's a great film. Have a great night. Congratulations." And I just kept like rushing out of there. And every time I think back to it, I cringe because that was such a random, awkward interaction. I wish I could have talked to him because like such an incredible filmmaker. Wish I could have talked to him longer. I was on the carpet earlier that day for ESPN filming, and his answers to the journalist who was asking him questions was fantastic. He just has so much insight into filmmaking. So that would have been such a great conversation. But we physically had no time to stop because we needed to get outside or else we were going to miss our spot. And that interaction haunts me. And every time I think of warfare now, Civil War, Alex Garland, I think of that. So that's my formal apology, sir. I loved your movie. I was not a bit intentionally, nor yeah. But yeah, I would like to preface again. I am aware he will never remember that. He never thought about it again, I'm sure, after the second I turned around. I think about it though. It haunts me. So that's that. Also in limited release tomorrow, The Kings of Kings.
And as we were talking about last week on our show, Psychotherapy, the shallow tale of a writer who decided to write about a serial killer, is having its limited release as well on April 11th.
Also on April 11th, Gunslingers is having its limited release.
Such a good movie. Highly recommend you watch it.
And rounding out April 11th, we have Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV Plus. On April 13th, we have The Last of Us Season 2 on HBO Max.
April 15th, we have a few digital releases. So, A Working Man is coming to digital.
We also have The Woman in the Yard on digital. And going down to the bottom here, April 16th, Government Cheese on Apple TV Plus.
It's a busy week.
You're busy if you are trying to keep up with all of your watching. You
We
have
are not.
you have your theater run on Friday. Like I said, you gotta do your marathon of at least The Amateur, Drop, and Warfare.
The Drop Warfare.
I like it.
Welcome back, Glicked.
I
Welcome back,
love it.
Barbenheimer.
This is why
The Warfare Drop?
why yes. Well, see, why is no one talking about this weekend? I feel like there's not enough people talking about this. This is needs to
I
be
feel
it.
like we should coin this as the first people to talk about it.
Let's do it. Social clip on Thursday is gonna be this exact moment.
The Warfare Drop. We are here.
Well, that is all we have for you this week. If you're still sticking around, thank you so much for joining us and talking all things entertainment with us. We will be back the same time next week. But until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gracie, and you can watch or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts on Spotify and YouTube.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.